The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. Welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky. And the Cubs just agreed to a 1-year, $2.5 million deal with Pedro Strop, so they avoided arbitration.
That's good. I like Strop. He's a durable, sort of a setup-man type of guy. Yeah. He's sort of he's sort of our eighth inning guy, right? Or at least he was last year.
Him and Neil Ramirez are kind of like the seventh and eighth inning
guys. But now that we have Jason Mott, I wonder where he'll fit in as well.
Right, you never know. I mean, that's the nice about having a luxury of a bunch of bullpen guys. And Victor Martinez tore a meniscus in his knee.
I heard about that.
When I read about that, I was just kind of like, that's like the second time in 3 or 4 years that this guy has had like a major knee injury in the off season.
I think they say he'll be ready for opening day, but you never know. Hopefully, at least for his sake, there won't be any setbacks or anything.
Right, because remember in the off season a couple of years ago he tore his ACL, so then that forced Detroit to go and give Prince Fielder that massive deal.
Right, and of course he was out all year with Texas. Now he's going to come back. The Texas Rangers are going to be much improved this year. I know
Seems like everybody on Texas was out for the year.
Right. And, I mean, the best thing that they ever did was getting rid of Josh Hamilton. Now he's hurt. He might not even be back for opening day. It says he's going to be out for, I think, 6 to 8 weeks was his timetable.
Getting that first-round draft pick for him is looking pretty nice.
The Angels are in a bit of a rough spot, because, now you have a really old Albert Pujols who's not going to be nearly as good.
Forever.
He's going to be declining tremendously every single year. You still have Mike Trout. Their staff isn't the best in that division by any means.
No, they've got very limited payroll flexibility, and they have no farm system.
Right, so they're in a bit of trouble. Their time to win was last year when they had the best record in in the American League.
Right, yeah. Well, last year they were hurt because they had major rotation injuries. Like Garrett Richards tore a knee ligament, missed the last couple months of the year. Tyler Skaggs needed Tommy John
Jared
surgery.
Weaver isn't, I think, special anymore necessarily.
Not anymore. He's old. He's in his he's like 33. He said he gained about 15 or 25 pounds in the offseason to help his arm strength to go deeper into games and maybe get some more velocity on his fastball.
Well, we'll have to see about that. Yeah, because, that division, the AL West as a whole, that's one of the best, if not the best, division in baseball right now.
Well, you can make an argument for the NL Central, too.
Yes, for sure. But
any team in the Central could actually realistically win it this year. Mm-hmm. The Brewers, I really doubt
Milwaukee
they will.
And Cincinnati is... it's a bit of a shaky thing, but Cincinnati's been good for a long time, and they haven't had too good of teams, and they won they've won the NL Central before, so it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I agree with you with Milwaukee. I don't think Milwaukee. I don't think they have a chance.
They overachieved last year. Going back to the Reds, it all depends on the health of their players and how well Votto and Bruce and Phillips bounce back.
Yeah, and about the
rotation. They traded 2 of their starters because they had 4 guys headed for free agency, and there's no way they could keep them all.
Yeah, that's going to be a real issue for them, I think. I think the offense is there when you got Votto, Phillips, and Bruce and some other good players. But
those guys are all up there in age except for Bruce, and Votto just hasn't been playing he hasn't really been showing much power. Phillips has been having those thumb issues.
Well, all of them had a bad year last year. I know that. It's just...
Yeah, all of them had horrible years.
I think they can all bounce back, and they can, try to give some teams some issues.
Everyone except the catcher, Devin Mesoraco, had a pretty rough year on the offense, where Mesoraco is fantastic. Todd Frazier was really good, too.
Yes, he was. He's got surprising power. And then with the Pirates, it's all about if their staff can perform well, because
and
they have a bunch of young guys.
They didn't even add anyone in free agency when they traded 2 starters, so they're relying on a bunch of young guys. And the Pirates, it all depends on if McCutchen can continue to carry that team by himself. It depends on if Starling Marte can build off of his insane second half performance with the .344 batting average.
Alvarez has to have a better average, too.
Alvarez has to play better. He was literally invisible on defense, and at the plate he was striking out and not hitting home runs.
He turned it on towards the end of the year, I think, right?
No, he was benched at the end of the year.
He was benched at the end of the year because now you have Starling Marte. Of course, you lost Russell Martin now.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for them.
Right. Depends if Gregory Polanco can progress in year 2, not go through the sophomore slump. Josh Harrison, if he can hit 320 again, which I doubt he will, he's probably more of a 280 to 295 hitter.
Neil Walker has to continue to be like a durable player.
Yeah, he's got to hit 23 home runs again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, as we're looking at it, it's probably going to be a 2 or 3 team race between the Cubs, Cardinals, and Pirates.
Right, and with the Pirates, I mean, I think they lost a lot in free agency and didn't really improve enough. So, I mean, I think their window to realistically win the division might be over because they lost a lot in free agency. They lost Russell Martin, their catcher. I mean, it really depends. The rotation, they don't really have a true ace. I mean, except the thing is, they have a young team. Can Garrett Cole become like this great pitcher that he's thought to be? Can all of their young players continue to improve?
Yeah,
and that's what the Cubs are banking on. Their young. That's where the Pirates might be ahead of the Cubs in a sense where they have a lot of the Pirates' young guys are all older and more mature and almost done developing and reaching their peaks. Where the Cubs are banking on a bunch of rookies next year.
Right.
I mean, granted, the Pirates don't have any young guys like Chris Bryant.
No, they don't. But yeah, they're still a very good team, and and if you look at the other divisions in the National League, I mean, the NL West, San Diego improved as we know, so that's probably going to be a 3-team race.
San Diego greatly improved.
Yeah.
They're probably the most improved team in the offseason.
Right. It's going to be probably a 3-team race between San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego because you can pretty much write off Arizona and Colorado. So, and then in the East, it's pretty much Washington's division to lose.
Right, unless the Marlins' young players all play really well. I mean, it's really
which is possible.
Absolutely, the Marlins could absolutely win that division.
Yeah. So I like what the Cubs have done, but I don't think they're going to get James Shields. I don't know about you. But.
See, the thing is, I think it depends on the price because it looks like he wanted 5 years, $110 million. That there's no way that's going to happen.
No.
And I mean, now it looks like he might be lucky to get $60 million. Where I'd be okay if the Cubs were to go and sign him to the same contract they gave Edwin Jackson, the 4 years, $52 million.
Right.
Now, the only thing that could be limiting the Cubs and going and acquiring James Shields is the potential for next year's starting pitching class or the fact that maybe Edwin Jackson his salary is what's keeping them from being able to make that kind of move. And you don't want to, if you sign Shields, you don't want to go and backload the contract where he's getting paid a ton of money in the last 2 years of the deal.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, too. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty content with where the Cubs are right now as far as their staff is concerned. It's definitely an improved staff, and obviously when you bring back Jason Hamill and then you sign John Lester,
Jake Arrieta,
that's going to get you a lot more wins than it did last year overall. So, I mean, I know that they're going to have more than 73 or 74 wins.
Right, that'd be really nice. I mean, it's really wait and see with the Cubs because. I mean, obviously, there's all this Back to the Future talk predicting them to win the World Series in 2015, and I don't know. I mean, that'd sure be something if Back to the Future is right. And the funny thing is, the Back to the Future, the guy that the writer, the guy that made that scene and had that happening, was a Cardinals fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had a Q&A with him. He said he was a Cardinals fan. He picked 2015 because he figured the Cubs had to win at some point.
Well, that is true. They do have to win at some point. So, yeah, well, that's pretty funny, too. Well, we'll have to see what happens with that, too.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I don't think they'll win the World Series. I don't think that even if they were to add James Shields, that would be enough because I think it's way too much to ask all these young players, guys that are either in year 2 starting their, like Soler and Baez and Alcantara getting their first full season. Chris Bryant will be a rookie. If Addison Russell gets a call-up, he'll be a rookie. I mean, I think it's just too much for too many young guys. I mean, they do have some nice veteran leadership in John Lester, Chris Denorfia. So I mean, really, it's waiting. No one knows. It's so difficult to predict these young teams.
Right.
And the thing is that's interesting with the Nationals, how much of an upgrade is Max Scherzer for them? Tanner Roark had a better ERA than Max Scherzer did last year.
Yeah, he did, and now he's going to be coming out of the. Now he's going to be their sixth guy out there in
he'll
the
be
bullpen.
in the bullpen. I mean,
long relief guy. So yeah.
I mean, I'm really wondering, is Max Scherzer like that much of an upgrade for the Nationals? Because in the playoffs, the starting pitching wasn't the problem. It was poor managing, and the offense disappeared.
Jordan Zimmerman was one out away, and they pulled him.
And he was only at like 100 pitches.
I know. He could have gotten that complete game shutout, but no.
I mean, that starting pitching wasn't the problem. It was the offense for them was awful. See, I'm not sure that Max Scherzer is like a super upgrade, because Tanner Roark was more of just an under the radar guy who had a fantastic season. Would he have put up another 290 ERA season this year? Probably not.
And Scherzer also, I don't think he's a very good postseason guy.
No, he's performed pretty well in the postseason.
Right, I could see him screwing up though, in the postseason.
It's just I mean, I'm not sure he presents the upgrade that's like transforming them into a super team. I mean, it's not like Edwin Jackson was their fifth guy and they went and signed Scherzer. I mean, Tanner Roark had a fantastic season, and what this could do really is next offseason when Denard Span's a free agent, Ian Desmond's a free agent, Jordan Zimmerman's a free agent, Doug Fister's a free agent. That's 4 major guys that are free agents. And you're going to be very limited in payroll flexibility, because Zimmerman's going to get a huge raise from his $16.5 million. Doug Fister will probably get a raise from the $11 million that he's making. Ian Desmond's going to score a huge contract in free agency.
I don't know why that play.
Yeah, I mean, Ian Desmond's going to get a massive deal in free agency. There's a lot of teams that desperately need a shortstop, and he's only 29, and he's hitting 20 home runs a year, stealing 20 bases. So
right.
And if Denard Span leaves, they don't have a leadoff hitter then, and they don't really have anyone in the minors to fill in. I mean, I think they're anticipating Desmond leaving. That's why they traded for Yunel Escobar. So, I mean, this Scherzer deal is really going to limit who they can keep next offseason. If they don't trade Zimmerman or Fister at the deadline, they're definitely, they're not going to re-sign both of them. I think Zimmerman's gone. I think he's going to go for the biggest contract he can get.
Yeah, I agree with that, too. I think Jordan Zimmerman will definitely try to get the biggest contract he can get. And
he's going to get a major one. He's been such an under-the-radar pitcher, except at the same time, he's been so good. If he was on another team, he'd be getting a lot of recognition. It's just the Nationals, where they want Strasburg to be that ace, and Zimmerman's been the ace, even though he's listed as number 3 on their depth chart.
Right. We're going to have more sports talk coming up next on the Sports Renegades, SportsTownChicago.com. The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.